Is there anybody listening? Is there anyone that sees what's going on? Read between the lines, criticize the words they're selling. Think for yourself and feel the...
Good morning and welcome back to the trailer park. I am Chanda-Masta and this is your midweek recap catch up. It's Wednesday. That's all I know. It's Wednesday. I have my co-host this morning. She's hanging out down here. You see her? That's baby Eden. She's officially 2 years old now. She followed me around all day screaming at me. I don't know what her dealio is, but good morning, everybody. How is everyone today? I see people filing in. Let me get all the chats brought up and let me get logged into Kick. I get a little cranky over on Kick if you're not actually in your chat, I've noticed. I mean, like Rumble, nobody's ever in their chat over there, but you know, we'll get logged in. Here we go. What you guys watched this morning? I watched everybody this morning. I watched some Jason Burmis. Poor Jason. He's having serious tech issues. I understand, man. We all deal with it from time to time. Windows 11 is the fucking devil. And if you are a streamer, it doesn't it doesn't go with the software and the programs that we use. I literally had to have Windows 11 ripped out of my system in February, I think. I mean, and Oz has done a great job of making sure that I'm good to go. And then let's see, Heartlands Media had Indy hanging out over there. That was fun. They're making fun of the Vanguard boys. That's always a blast, right? And who else? Oh, I watched AM Wake Up. They had, who's that doctor who's running? Dr. Shiva? Is that his name? Interesting. I don't know. I just find that guy so arrogant and egotistical. And I mean, I get it. He's an intellect who was, educated at one of those elite universities. So maybe he does know more than the rest of us, but I just hate when people talk down to you. But they did a great job with the interview. So, let's see what else. I had a great conversation with a brother Pasta. What was yesterday? No, I think it was Monday afternoon. I just letting him know I love him. I support him. I know these are tough times for him. He's taken it on the chin from a lot of our brothers and sisters. And, I get what Pasta's doing. He's just asking questions. We can't ask questions of these candidates. Pasta was on the ground with us. He knows how our election system is. So people just need to chill, man. Chill. Have some love. Have some love. Yeah, let's see what else. Oh, and I dealt with my effing car on Monday. Murphy's Law, man, if I didn't have bad luck, I would have no luck. So for the last 3 months, we've been planning this trip for Roar Media. Everybody was going to come together at the Land of Oz's, down at Oz's place. Oz has got, a nice place with big, field and yard. We were going to camp and do movie nights and all this. So I thought the only thing that was holding me back was a brake job. I mean, I know I need my catalytic converter cut off, but I can deal with that when I'm driving. I had no brakes. So we took it in last Monday to Les Schwab, which is very reputable, right? If you live, especially in the Pacific Northwest, you've known the Les Schwab name for our whole entire lives, right? It's one of those businesses that you can trust. They have all these, stipulations and like they're got to be clean cut and they got to run out to greet you. And I mean, they just have really great service and they have really great roadside assistance and warranties on everything you get from those guys. So I trust them. So I send the car there for an estimate, a full estimate. I want them to tell me everything that's goddamn wrong with it that they can fix and put it on paper. So I get an estimate for the brake job, which is, $700 plus or like, right around $700. And I'm like, okay, I expected that. But then I get another estimate that says, oh, your whole front end, your undercarriage, your stability system is what it's called on my idiot light, needs rebuilt. I have rebuilt this thing twice now. Twice I have paid Les Schwab already to fucking build this shit. Anyways, they go, yeah, your rod bearing's ready to go out. And we advise you not to take any roads over, like, don't go any highways, they said. Don't go on any highways because that thing could break. If it's going to break, it's going to break at like 55 miles an hour. So there's where I'm at. Now I'm saving up to replace my rod bearing, tie rods. I don't even know. Sway bars, all shit I've replaced in the last 5 years, but apparently I need to replace it again because it's been 50,000 miles, but I call bullshit. I haven't gone 50,000 miles. Anyways, so I'm taking it in strides. I feel terrible. I know Oz and everybody was getting ready for this weekend and they've been planning. So we're just pushing it back. We're not canceling it, but yeah. So we're not going to be doing the Land of Oz this weekend. That means I'm going to be doing a Beauty in the Trailer Park for you guys. So I'm giving Oz the weekend off. He was supposed to have the weekend off. So it's all bullshit. I know, Dr. Nick, it is all bullshit, isn't it? So I appreciate everybody who's helped me get there. My brakes feel great. Oh, but I didn't even tell you the best part. So I dropped the car off to get the brakes done. I go over to the next shopping center. I walk over. That way I'm not sitting at Les Schwab for 3 hours, whatever. And I'm hanging out at the dollar store and I get a phone call from Les Schwab that says, why are we doing a brake job on your car? And I go, because you guys said it needed brakes. And they were like, yeah, no, it doesn't need brakes. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? I'm like, okay, I'll be there in 5 minutes. I go, haul it ass over there. I like, you guys did an estimate on it last week and said that it needed a full brake job. What are you talking about? Like, he's like, oh, well, your brake pads are good. I had brakes done on my car. I'm not even kidding, 4 years ago. And they told me that I had 60% brake pads and I didn't need new pads. So, okay. And now again, they're telling me you don't need new pads. I'm like, well, then why won't it stop? Like, you tell me if it's not the brakes, why won't it stop? Well, we changed the rotors out, and it seems to be braking better now. But he says he thinks a lot of the braking problem is all that undercarriage crap. So that is where I'm at. I appreciate everybody who helped me get new brakes because I have new brakes now and just one more hurdle and I will be back on the road. This is really holding me up because I can't get to the airport to get out to, get to Argentina. I was supposed to go to Cuba this year and I couldn't get out to do it. So once this crap is fixed, I'm going to be back on the road. I'm super excited for it. So there is your update, your Wednesday update. We are on YouTube today, so fair use. I'm just commentating. And if you are interested in anything I talk about, please go do your own research. I promise you the answers are out there. They just don't think you're going to look for them. And if you do, you'll just get called a conspiracy theorist because that's how that works. If you want to help me out with my never-ending car nightmare, you can buy me a mile over at buymeacoffee.com/trailer park. Or, of course, my PayPals. They're always in the link below. And the GoFundMe. The GoFundMe is still up. When everything is going wrong in your life, but you develop it is what it is attitude. And that's what I had to do. I was angry. And I was upset, and now I'm just like, it is what it is. I'll get to the Land of Oz. I know I will. I'm Dorothy, man. I'm taking the long road. Just follow the yellow brick road. Follow the yellow brick road. How is everybody this morning? Hit that like button and share this out. I want to shout out the chats real fast before we get started. Of course, Dr. Nick Rivera is in the house, and so is Popeye. Kim's here. Snow Leopard. Hi. DC. And I got Yona, right? Yeah. And Kim and Jilly Love. Jilly Love's hanging out. Midnight Karma. Hi, Midnight Karma. How's it going? There's big news coming. I know stuff that you don't know. Pittsburgh dude, 87. Good to see you. Try not to skip anybody. I should probably put my damn glasses back on. Kate's in the house. Kate, good to see you. Gamer's here. Gamer, you're here for the morning show. Yay. It's Cold Fusion. Jax, how's it going, Jax? You getting rested up? Let's see. I thought I saw, is Peace Dove in here? Peace Dove, you're so awesome. You sent out an envelope to me. Shanda, big overnight envelope. Oh, you are so kind. I can't even tell you guys, like, you guys make me cry. I was standing at Les Schwab bawling the other day, pieced up. Like, oh my God, you guys swell my heart bigger than a COVID vaccine. So thank you. Thank you. I love you guys so much. I mean, this community came to me out of nowhere. I never had a community in my life before, and I embrace it. And that's why I work so hard. I work so hard because I work for you guys. I'll put 10, 15 hours into a show to make sure you guys are getting, what you came here for. And that is information and laughs and a sense of community. And V, hi V, hi V, what's up? Where are you, V? Please tell us where you're at. Are you in you're in one of those cold places, aren't you? Yeah, yeah. I saw something about there's a place in Norway that is no visa is required and you can live there permanently. I was like, oh, well, that's something good that we need to know, right? Natalie Williams, good to see you. Okay, let's get started. Oh, I got to shout out the Rokfin real fast. Rokfin, but you guys made me tear up a little bit, so now my nose is running. Thank you much. Jim's hanging out over there. Hi, Jim. How's it going? I got, you know what I bought? I bought Idiocracy yesterday. So that's our next movie night. Amber's going to do a Brave New Future this Friday. So next Friday, we're going to do an Idiocracy watch party and laugh our asses off because we never thought that would become reality. And it's 100% reality now, right? So Rokfin and Patreon only on those. Denver Attaway is hanging out. Hey, Denver, I saw you hanging out at Hardlands, I want to say. DC, good morning. Fred Edwards. Fred's got a new card, a new AP card. Love it. Kate, are you over here too? Oh, Kate's normally over here too. Free thinker. Hi, free thinker. Okay, we'll get started. I'm a little amped from my coffee this morning, and I only had 1 cup. Jeebus. Lots to talk about in this day in history. Let's see. I'm going to have to put my glasses on because it's all fine print. Let's see. In 2014, sadly, Michael Brown, an unarmed African-American teenager, was fatally shot by white police officers in Ferguson, Missouri, resulting in a day of civil unrest and protests fueled by tension between Ferguson's predominantly Black population and its predominantly white government and police department. Yeah, so sad. Let's see. 1995, American musician Jerry Garcia, who personified the hippie counterculture for 3 decades, as a mellow leader of rock band, the Grateful Dead, died of a heart attack at the age of 53. I swear to God, this is like a Mandela effect thing for me. I don't remember him dying then. I swear he died in the 2000s, but I guess I was out of it then. 1974. Oh, the year I was born. Gerald R. Ford was sworn in as president of the United States, succeeding Richard Nixon, who resigned. So, my mom had wrote in my baby book, like the first page of my baby book was who was the president, and it said Nixon, but then you could see where my mom scratched it out and she put in parentheses Ford. I always thought that was funny as I was a kid growing up. And 1945, the second atomic bomb was dropped in Japan by the United States in World War II on the city of Nagasaki. Yeah, that's what we do, right? And we're freaking proud of it. 1173 in Pisa, Pisa, Italy. Construction began on the bell tower that it has become internationally famous as the Leaning Tower of Pisa. And of course, on this day in 1969, 5 are found murdered at Sharon Tate's LA home. Of course, that was the infamous Manson murders that happened. They would have happened, yesterday, but they were found today, right? I was obsessed with the Manson case as a kid. The very first book I remember really buying when I was like 8 or 9 years old, when I was starting to read grown-up books, was the Manson case murder. What was that book called? I got that. I got the Ted Bundy Stranger Beside Me with Anne Rule. I was obsessed with true life crime as a young kid. I don't know. I should have gone into forensics, I guess, instead of, just being a trailer park mom and having kids. Today's birthdays, we've got Whitney Houston, rest in peace. Sam Elliott. Sam Elliott's a big deal where I live. I think he lives here part-time or something. Let's see, Huda, she'll be getting drunk with Kathy Lee this morning. And of course, Fredo. Happy birthday, Fredo Como. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. We should start doing like community birthdays. You guys got to start sending me when it's somebody's birthday so we can do like a Helter Skelter. Thank you, Popeye. Helter Skelter. I bought Helter Skelter. Helter Skelter. I think I had the album right around the same time too. There's a lot of crazy things that are being said about the whole Manson case, the trial, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Yes, I mean, there's some good books out there that talk about how the CIA was running the health clinic that was on Haight-Ashbury, and that is where all of the acid was being passed out, and that basically acid was the CIA psych op, and along with Jerry Garcia, apparently, they were giving it to the deadheads. So all the acid that was out there in the 70s was coming directly from the fucking CIA. And I wouldn't doubt it for a minute, not for 1 minute. When you look at what the CIA has been doing for the last 50 fucking years, I don't doubt for 1 minute that they were trying to incite counterculture. They were trying to capture counterculture and, do what they always do. Lead the opposition, right? That's what they always do. Co-opt. So did the acid you take come from the CIA? I don't know. I didn't start taking acid till the 80s, and acid was my drug of choice as a teenager, let me tell you. But I wonder where the acid in the 80s was coming from. Was it the same place? I don't know. Look at your game, girl. What game? Do I have a game? Okay. Oh, won't let me look at it. Why won't it let me look at it? Hold on. Let me go over to the other chat, see if I can get into it. When you guys send me stuff in YouTube, it won't let me. Are you on Beauty and the Boomer or Trailer Park Pundit? Let's try Beauty and the Boomer. It won't let me click links in the shared chat because it like funnels them all into one. Look at you, girl. Nice. Very cool. Very cool. My son-in-law looked like Manson. My ex-son-in-law, I should say. Ex-son-in-law. Okay, let's get this party started. We've had fun with that day in history, this day in history. Okay, let's see. Why leftists should work their hearts out for Biden in 2024. Yeah, no, wasn't even gonna pretend to read this crap. Leftists should not be working their hearts out for any establishment candidate, freaking period. And y'all know what I'm saying. Yeah, you do. Let's hear Biden or Obama getting booed again.
This is what I mean. This is what I mean. I mean, we're having a conversation. Hold on a minute.
Oh, he's trying to use his bad boys.
Listen, everybody.
Listen up in the back.
Hey, y'all up there, pay attention. Here's what happens. Listen.
I think the Dems might be in trouble. You think? I'm just saying, when the one and the only Messiah, Obama, is getting shouted down and fuck Joe Biden, what does that say for their future? And I would love to just kick back for the next year and watch every one of these corporate asshats get fucking booed and get Let's Go Brandon off the stage every time they open their mouth. I mean, what other course of action do we really have in this country, other than to call them out? Was it Maxine Waters say, you see them in public, you tell them what you feel. Yeah, we're going to tell you what we feel. There's so much coming out. The Obama scandal. Boy, oh boy, there's a lot of stuff going back and forth with that one. His biographer, like I told you on Monday, his biographer said that he fantasized about making love to men. He didn't just want to have sex. He wanted to make love to them. And so, I mean, does that give validity to the whole, he killed his chef? I don't know. I don't know. But I just want to point out that Joan Rivers, whether you believe it or not, told us these truths a long time ago. When they asked her, I mean, when did she pass? She had to have passed in what, 2012, 13? Let's see. When did Joan Rivers die? She said, we've already had our first gay president in Obama. And she was dead right after that. When did she die? September 4th, 2014. I would be curious to know when she said that about Obama. I'm going to have to do some research on that, right? Simon Adebita, he's been all over this story. Of course, he's a little bitter because he gets treated so bad as a White House corresponding journalist. But breaking, House Oversight Committee reveals bank records shedding light on Hunter Biden's Russian, Kazakhstan, and Ukrainian ties. Foreign earnings for Biden's family now at 20 million confirmed by the committee. So the chair, Comer, suggests Hunter grant foreign business people access to VIP. Yeah, he was selling access. We all know he was selling access. And he didn't even have, and Joe, I just talked to my son who calls their parents up in the middle of a business meeting. Bullshit. But, the Dems are just like, oh, this is nothing burger. No, there's no corruption here. We don't know what the hell you're talking about. Look, Trump. That's what they always do. Look, Trump. So I see all of the progressives are out there falling in line. Joan Rivers was awesome. I love Joan. I know, right? She just told you how it was. She was in their face. She was the first one to really tell us that Michelle was AKA Michael and that Obama was gay. So maybe they, she died on the operating table, right? Complications of a facelift or something, some kind of, ego surgery. Maybe they got to her. Maybe they were like, put a little extra, Finny in her fentanyl cocktail. I don't know. But so they got the Dems out there shelling. And when I say Dems, people like to call these guys progressives, but they're not progressives. Just like the Hill is not progressive. None of the fraud squad are progressive. And we've been telling you this since day fucking one. I never was on board with any of these people. The only one that duped me was Pramila Jayapal. Pramila Jayapal duped me in the very beginning in 2015, 2016. But after that, I didn't fall for this crap anymore. And I didn't fall for AOC. And I sure in the fuck didn't fall for Ro the Ho. So I've got two of Ro's really loving CNN this week, man. He's doing a lot of CNN ass kissing. So let's hear about it. This first one is Trump's lawyer begins to float possible defenses with Rep Ro Khanna the liar. Let's see. Now look for the gleam in his eye because he gets off on lying to us. Why do I have no sound?
Still, in this poll, recent new CNN poll, still say they believe that Joe Biden did not legitimately win the 2020 election. That number is ticking back up. That number is higher than earlier this year, higher than we saw through last fall. Why is that?
Well, it's unfortunate, but not surprising, because as we head to another presidential election, this country is deeply polarized and people are getting into their partisan camps. And it's no secret that Donald Trump is leading decisively in the polls and is likely to be the Republican nominee. And he's out there continuing to say the election was stolen. And that's why 2024 is really going to be a decisive election in this country. In my view, it's going to be a rematch between President Biden and President Trump. And the American people really are going to get to weigh in on whether we count our votes, whether it's okay if you lose an election to try to subvert the process. That's what's at stake.
Another part of this poll that is important to talk about is Joe Biden's approval rating. Overall, his approval rating is sitting at 41%. That is not great. His approval on handling the economy is even lower than his overall approval rating. Handling of the economy is sitting at 37%, Congressman. And this is where the number sits when you've got a series of good reports coming in about the economy. If that's where it sits when you're getting good news on the economy, how do you make a case that Joe Biden is doing okay?
Well, we have to talk about what the president has achieved and what he will achieve. He inherited a tough situation. He came in towards the end of COVID, and that was an economy that was hurting because of unemployment. We had to have spending to bring the unemployment rate down, and that hurt with inflation. So he inherited a tough situation. But what did he do? We've got construction going on around this country because of the infrastructure bill. We're bringing home manufacturing with semiconductors. We are bringing the fundamental technology to have the industries of the future with batteries and electric vehicles. Some of that is going to take time, but
don't have the power to
the
charge
results.
them,
and I think
okay.
As those results become more evident to the American people, and as we talk about how consequential this president has been, his numbers will improve.
That's the case you make. But as we're sitting in August of 23, and that's the case that has been being made for months now and talking about Biden economics. Are you okay if that approval rating on the economy is still sitting at 37% heading into 24?
Well, I don't think it will be come next November. But look, people were making this argument that the president's numbers were too low before the midterm, and everyone then was surprised that the Democrats did better. People were making arguments against this president back in 2020, including me when I was co-chairing the Bernie Sanders campaign. But Joe Biden won. So I think he's underestimated, and I believe when people go into the vote booth, they're going to know he's a decent human being, he's a patriot, he's trying his best, and he'll be
Oh my God, Rose, such deep shit this morning. I mean, there was so much wrong with what he said. I love when he says, I took swipes at Biden, or when I was Bernie's campaign. Bull the shit you did. You didn't do shit. You guys could have called Biden out on a multitude of different things, but you refused to. The closest thing Bernie got close to saying was, use the Google machine. I mean, come on. Okay, one more. God, he was on CNN a lot this week. He must be their head simp this week. Why are they all muted?
She's given power of attorney to her daughter. Obviously, she is from your state, Dianne Feinstein is. And this raises some new questions about her health. And I want to play for you, Congressman, a recent moment during a hearing. I know you know about it, but just in case anyone didn't hear about this did raise some concern about her. She is, of course, a sitting senator.
Clerk will call the roll.
Senator Feinstein.
Say aye.
Pardon me?
Aye.
Yeah.
Just say
I would like to support a yes vote on this. It provides $823 billion. That's an increase of $26 billion for the Department of Defense. And it funds priorities submitted.
Yeah, just say aye.
Okay, just
okay.
aye.
Congressman, of course, you called for Senator Feinstein to resign when she had been absent from the Senate for 10 weeks with health issues. When she returned, you did stop those calls. But how do you feel about this now?
Well, it's sad to watch. I have such great admiration for Senator Feinstein, for her career, what she's done for public service. I stand by the call that I made, that I think the best thing to do for her would be to step down. But I don't want to belabor the point. I don't want to constantly have clips that are embarrassing her. I think we owe her sort of the dignity of respect for her life.
We don't owe that bitch shit.
And I just hope that she or people close to her do the right thing. But I stand by my call, and I haven't kept beating the drum on it because, out of respect for her.
Right. No, I understand. It's a complicated situation, and you do hope those around her do the right thing.
do the right thing, like have her sign a power of attorney to her daughter, like have Nancy Pelosi's daughter, pretty much doing her job for her. They just wheel her in whenever they got to show face. And Ro, nobody's buying that you're calling for her to resign. You said it once, but you're not beating the drums because you were told by the House Democrats to shut the fuck up. And we know it. We know it. What the hell? Pull the plug. I agree. Pull the plug already. Pull the plug on the whole goddamn Senate. Throw in the Congress while you're at it. I don't know. That's where we're at. Oh, Oz, did you drop this for me? What is this? So, yeah, riding with the Biden. Yeah, that's what Biden's doing. This is a Rob Snyder. That's no longer what they're teaching universities. Okay, let me back up a second. Let's see what the original tweet was. The original tweet was the ultimate purpose of education is to change an empty mind into an open one. If you want to be a good teacher, teach open-mindedness, teach enthusiasm, inquisitiveness. I can't even see that. And something in values. Okay, so Rob Snyder says that's no longer what they're teaching. Universities are no longer teaching or training kids to think or how to think for themselves. They are training kids to be political advocates for an ideology. Amen. Absolutely. That's what they do. I used to be so heartbroken that I didn't get the opportunity to go to college, right? I find myself a pretty intellectual person, or I like to think I am. And I always had that longing in my heart. Like if I had been allowed to go to school, I had 3 kids by the time I was 22 years old. Obama and Biden and Clinton, nobody was going to pay for me to go to school. I'd have to go $50,000, $70,000 in debt. And I couldn't do that while I had 3 kids and I was working full time. I did go back to school and I would tend bar till 2:00 in the morning. My first class was at 8 a.m. and I did that for a whole year. And after a year, I learned a lot. I took computer sciences. And thank God, now I understand at least what I'm doing. But I was so heartbroken for so long. Like, oh my God, I didn't go get the education I wanted. But actually, you know what? I got the education I wanted. I got it for myself by being open-minded and reading and watching everything I could. So yeah, I don't feel so bad that I didn't go get indoctrinated into a university, but I used to. Let's see. Nancy Pelosi declares America will cease to exist if Trump becomes president again. And Comrade Misty Putin says, don't threaten me with a good time. Yeah, I'm so scared. I'm so scared. Oh no, that sucks. Yeah, Chris. Fredo, we agree. That sucks. She sucks. What are you going to say? I mean, that's what the Democrats are going to do for the next 16 months, right? I mean, it's all going to be Trump, 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 Trump. That's all we hear. I mean, go check out any of the mainstream media since they managed to get Trump backed into a corner now, put him in a corner. That's their whole focus is that. That's what CNN is. That's what MSNBC is. They are just focused on Trump. And what they don't realize is the more they attack Trump, the more his fucking points go up. The more following he gets. And I don't even understand that. I mean, for me, I thought the people that are with Trump already are the ones that are with Trump. Who are these new independent people that are jumping on board with Trump? That's my question. Where I mean, it seems like the more the Dems push, the more they're pushing people to Trump. So Trump had to fire back on that. And I got to tell you guys, I miss Trump tweeting on Twitter every day. I really do. I went and I watched a bunch of the old Beauty and the Boomers yesterday, which was a hoot. But God, Trump was just such a good source of entertainment for us. So Trump says, I purposely didn't comment on Nancy Pelosi's very weird story concerning her husband, but now I can because she said something about me with glee. That's what really is quite vicious. I saw a scared puppy, she said, as she watched me on television like millions of others. That didn't see that. God, it's so hard to read Trump's tweets. I wasn't scared. Nevertheless, how mean a thing to say. She is a wicked witch. Her husband's journey from hell starts and finishes with her. She is sick and demented psycho who will someday live in hell. You gotta miss Trump's tweets. Of course, that came from True Social or whatever he's tweeting on nowadays, I watched this thing yesterday. It was an astrologist talking about Trump's chart, his astrological chart, and the United States as a country's chart and how they are overlapped on top of each other. Like Trump is this big savior that's going to save America. But I will tell you this, he has red pilled a hell of a lot of people, right? And not because he red pilled them, but because they got red pilled because they either supported him or they opposed him, right? I mean, a lot of us already saw what was coming and just saw Trump as kind of the clown that was welcoming it in. I still say that, but I got to tell you, if I had to vote today, I would be contemplating hitting that Trump button. I know. I said if I had to vote today, I can't vote for Biden. I can't vote for Democrats. I won't. And as much as, I support third parties, Cornell, get your ass out there and actually start talking about things that matter to the working poor. Please, please. We need somebody. I mean, I know we all think that Bobby's out there doing that, but I've been telling you since day one, Bobby's a sheepdog. And I'm going to stick to that guess. Which astrologue did you listen to, Shanda? Thomas something? Very renowned, like one of the top in the world. He has an English accent, which makes him, it even more thrilling to listen to. Natalie Williams, I'll write in general strike. That's a good idea. Okay, that's what I'll do too. I'll just write in general strike. I'll just write general strike right across the whole damn thing. But when it comes down to it, we know that our vote doesn't count for shit. Our vote, your vote. And at the end of the day, it is the electoral college. It is the super delegates. They're going to pick who's here. But we just like to pretend that the popular vote means something and that our vote means something. We've all known since 2000, at least, right? I mean, I found out in 2000, so it's not real. It's not real. It's all facade. Let's see here. Oh, yeah. New FBI agent Charles McGungle who investigated Donald Trump for colluding with Russia, is set to plead guilty for colluding with Russia. Oh, imagine that. Yeah, read it again. He was a key figure in the Trump-Russia hoax investigation, will plead guilty after being accused of illegally working for a Russian oligarch. The ex-FBI agent was indicted in January for money laundering and violating U.S. sanctions by working on behalf of a Russian billionaire Oleg. I'm not even going to pretend. You guys know I'm terrible with these foreign names. So let's see. He tried getting off of the United States sanctions list and couldn't make this shit up. Yeah, no, you couldn't make this shit up. So the guy who invented Russiagate is colluding with Russia and has been found guilty for Russiagating. I mean, that's what it comes down to. Good job, Mueller. Great work, Mueller. Anyways, the Democrats in a nutshell accuse your enemy of that for what you are doing and create confusion. Yeah, so true. Are we shocked? Are we shocked? No. I mean, we called Russiagate out from day one. Day one, I called Russiagate out. I had been called Putin puppet, Russian, everything since 2016. Going into 2017. Oh, they've got videotape of Trump and the P-gate, right? I mean, the stupidity. There's not 1 ounce of validity to anything that they said. We know the Steele dossier was bullshit. We know that Clinton paid for the Steele dossier from her money that she stole from Bernie and us, basically, right? Oh my gosh. And there's still people till this day out there pushing fucking Russiagate. Tom Hartman. So I told you guys I went back and I watched some old Beauty and the Boomers. I was looking for some old Fauci stuff, but I went back to June of 2001. And just to see what we were talking about, because we used to do a lot of shows back then. We do the daily dive and stuff. And the most shocking thing to me is we were calling Tom Hartman out 2 years ago for the same shit, the same exact shit. We were saying, oh, Tom Hartman's got Trump derangement syndrome. Oh, Tom Hartman, he's too hyper-focused on Russiagate. He's going to be bummed out when he finds out it's not real. Well, here we are. He hasn't figured it out yet. Or if he's figured it out like Rachel Maddow, he just is trying to get a paycheck. And that's even worse, Like, the Trump derangement syndrome has hit a new fucking high. I've never, we always say that Trump derangement syndrome's bad, right? But with all of these indictments and the fact that they think they're going to throw him in prison, they've really gone over the top. I literally saw a post yesterday that said that they were trying to get the death penalty on Trump. Like, are you guys that fucking delusional? And you should have seen all the shit libs. Oh my gosh, yes, we got to burn him at the stake. Like, you guys are so stupid. They're just dumb. It's just dumb. The whole thing's dumb, but not as dumb as this chick. Kamala Harris takes on a new forceful role in the 2024 campaign. The vice president is trying to reclaim the momentum that propelled her and Joe as a candidate into the White House. So yeah, she's going to be leading up to campaign for a lot of it now, because they can't really put Joe out there. They know they can't put Joe out there. Cacklin Harris does a much better job for them. So that's what they're going to do. My sister snaps into Trump derangement syndrome like someone flipped a switch out of nowhere, Jim. I think we all have one of those in our lives. I don't know about you. Do you guys have that one person that just the minute you bring up Trump, they just flip out? Yeah. Oh, that was funny. You guys are hilarious. Jimmy thought it was funny. That's why he's laughing. Good job. Good job, Jim. I need you guys to come write for me. Okay, so did you see this? I didn't know this paper existed. It's called the CapitolHillCitizen.com, and Ralph Nader tweeted this out. You're not going to read about Cornel West taking on corporate duopoly in the mainstream press. Read about it in the new print-only Capitol Hill Citizen, which you can receive by first-class mail at CapitolHillCitizen.com. Now, I thought some of you old schoolers might like that. I know you guys like the old-fashioned ink and print. So go over to CapitolHillCitizen.com and sign up. And here, let me bring this paper in, because they have it like a digital JPEG of it. Let me bring it in so you guys can see it. Mm-hmm. No, that's Ghislaine. What's it called? Trying to figure out which one it is. We have proof, Ghislaine Maxwell, bed rotting. Oh, come on. Why can't I find it? Oh, there it is. Okay. Got too many tabs open. But I'm a tab girl. That's what happens. Okay, so this is this new paper. The price is $5 apparently. It's called the Capitol Hill Citizen. You can sign up at CapitolHillCitizen.com. And corporate crime cases hits a new low under Biden. I was like, what? So where's the congressional hearings? So corporate crime enforcement is down under Biden's Justice Department, with few major corporate crimes cases being brought in the first 2 years of the Biden administration than during the first 2 years of the Trump administration. Major corporate crimes cases settled with defendants with deferred prosecution agreements, non-prosecution agreements, and declinations with disagreements are down from 56% under Trump to 31% under Biden. So basically, they're just making deals like, oh, we don't want to prosecute you. So here, you can just go deferred, get a slap on the wrist, and yeah, not a big deal. Are we shocked that Biden's Justice Department isn't doing shit? No, they're hyper-focused on burning Julian Assange to the fucking ground and trying to look like they actually have something to stick on Trump. What else is in this paper? Let's see. Citizen confronts Schumer Manchin's dirty duopoly debt deal. Well, yeah. Let's see. A citizen gathering in Berkeley Springs, West Virginia last month. A West Virginia Democratic Party advocate was planning about Joe Manchin, Democrat, siding with Republicans to slip into the debt deal. Yeah, we're not shocked. Manchin's a Republican. I mean, in the true Vin Graham, he would be a Republican. But because he's from West Virginia, we pretend like he's a Democrat. Cinema's the same way with Arizona. Let's see. Cornel West tackles corporate duopoly. Cornel West announced in June that he's running for a Green Party nomination. Yeah, we know that. See page 26. Holy crap, this thing's got mass pages. I thought it had like one. Howie Hawkins, the Green Party candidate for president in 2020, has some questions for Cornel West on page 28. Oh, I want to see those. I want to see those. What the hell would Howie have to ask fucking Cornel? We have questions for you, Howie. Oliver Hall pins an open letter to Harvard law professor Lawrence Tribe. So as you can see, they only give you the first page of it. This is an actual print paper you have to sign up for to get. If any of you guys get signed up for it, let me know. Oliver Stone film ignores nuclear reality. Oh, they went after Oliver Stone in here. And weaponizing anti-Semitism. Okay. The Iraq war 20 years later, and the NPIC is out of control. So I don't know. You guys check it out. I don't know much about it, but I'm always interested to, look at new things coming out. Let's see, get this back in here. What do you guys think? Has anybody signed up for that? Has anybody seen that paper before? I don't know. Oh, go back. Thank you so much. You put a United spot on here. That's awesome. Excited to pull it up. Okay, let's make fun of Harry Sessions. Well, quiet little baby. And of course, Biden down there pulling the strings. So Harry Sessions, right now, President Biden is giving a speech on climate and his amazing move to save lands around the Grand Canyon from uranium mining. But Trump is giving a speech about his conspiracies while having a temper tantrum over being indicted. Biden is a leader. Trump is a joke. Well, there's a chance of influence peddling. Yeah, definitely some influence peddling. If you didn't know, these young influencers are paid by the Democratic Party to get out here and do this. Now, I saw this in freaking up close and personal in 2020. They hired a team of millennials and they call them the Young Democrats. Now, we did not have any Young Democrats anywhere in my district, in my region. I mean, in my LD. I mean, we know who the younger ones were, but we didn't have like a dedicated committee. And all of a sudden, this dedicated committee with a shit ton of money shows up in my rural area, puts them all up in a hotel, like these rando freaking young Democrats. And, they brought them in town to canvass, to push, and we're like, where are you guys getting all this money for the hotel rooms? Where are you guys getting all this money for food? Where are you guys getting all this money for your gas and your cars? And like, yeah, we know where it's coming from. The same place that is paying Harry Sessions and his little friends to put this shit out there. They think that that's how they're going to reach the young vote, right? Because if you go inside the Democratic Party, I'm here to tell you, there ain't no young people in it. The young people that were in there, the energy that was in there under Bernie, was so co-opted. If you dissented in any way, they pushed you out the door. You weren't welcome. So yeah, there isn't much young energy in the Democratic Party that I have seen unless it's paid for. So just know, if you're seeing young people in the Democratic Party, odds are they've probably been paid to be there. Or they're getting a step up one way or another, because that's another way they do it too. They hold these like camps, and I'm not even kidding. They're like camp, like if you went to camp from school, and there's a bunch of them going on right now, and you pay like anywhere from $500 to $1,000 to go to these elitist camps, and they teach you how to talk like a politician. And the biggest thing is your network. You get to network with all of the next level Democrats. And so, I saw a lot of inspiring young people coming into the Democratic Party in early 2016. And if you look now, a lot of them are just, middle of the road Democrats. They nothing special, but they love to say, but I supported Bernie. Yeah, okay, because that changes policy at all. Okay, let's see. United Spot's making fun. Let's laugh. I need a laugh this morning.
So Jack, how's it going? So Jack, how's it going? We got him this time. So does this mean like I'm not gonna go to jail? Hunter, as long as your dad does everything I say, you'll never have to go to jail.
Hunter, as long as your dad does everything I say, you'll
Joe, stop repeating everything I say.
Joe, stop repeating everything I say. So, should we have a backup plan in case we don't get him this time?
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. Well, what is it?
It's somebody who's gonna beat Trump.
Are you talking about me?
No. Not this time, Joe.
Oh, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the man who's gonna beat Donald Trump, Chris Christie.
What's for dinner? Obama, this is the guy that's gonna beat Trump?
That's correct.
That's correct. Is he gonna beat him in the election or a pie eating contest? Make America butter again.
Oz.
Did he just say make America butter again?
Yeah. And he's got a 4-year plan.
What is it? Don't die?
Yep. Chris Christie is gonna be the next president.
Of what? The Golden Corral all-you-can-eat buffet? What? For lunch? How much is this costing us?
Practically nothing. He works for butter.
Hang on. I gotta take a break. Come on, guys. Be nice.
That's not nice. Don't make fun of Chris Christie. I don't know. I made fun of Chris Christie for years, so it's okay. Go ahead and make fun of him. I'm surprised they didn't say he was working for gravy. He seems more like a gravy guy, not a butter guy to me, but you never know. Okay, I got to be really careful with this next story because we are on YouTube, but so I'll probably skip a couple words in here, but you guys will get the gist of what I'm saying. So now we have proof. TGP executives, so massive 2020 V fraud uncovered in Michigan. Say it ain't so. And I remember when we called this out in real time, we got called conspiracy theorists. So please find tens of thousands of fake registrations, bags of prepaid gift cards, guns with silencers, burner phones, and a Democratic fund organization with multiple temporary facilities in several states. Yes, temporary facilities, because this is what the Democrats do, right? That's why campaign office always pops up in your area temporarily for the election, because it's always temporarily. Now, we've been telling you that this is their means for a long effing time. I have been. I mean, we know what happened in Philly with the Philly mob. We know what happened in Michigan. I mean, we saw what they were doing with the Ilhan Omar campaign, right? Do you guys remember that? It had a lot to do with burner phones and gift cards, if I remember right. So, yeah, they got their ways, and temporarily for every state, it's different. I mean, every state has different requirements and different laws. That's why, voting laws are passed from state to state. They're at the state level. So each state, they've got a plan. You think they don't lay out 50 states and go, this is the plan for taking this state. This is how we take this state. This state's got primaries, so we got to do this. This state doesn't have primaries, so we got to do this. You have to register as a Democrat in this state, so you're going to have to do this. I mean, last time they made us declare on the outside of our goddamn envelope if we were voting Democrat or Republican. How is that even legal? How was that legal? That I had to mark on the outside of my envelope, I am a Democrat or I am a Republican. Because I didn't identify as either of them. But in order for my vote to count in the primary, I had to mark one of them. Oh, my system wants an update. No, you ain't getting an update right now. So yeah, I want to know how that was legal. Let's see. Breaking: Michigan police find tens of I just read that to you. The reason I brought that is you guys see the little community note thing down here where it says rate purposed community notes. Well, somehow I found myself as one of these note contributors like 6 months ago. And so I guess for people who aren't part of this notes community, you guys don't see them unless we approve them and they get on there. Like every single post I see on Twitter has mass people commenting on it like, no, this is fake and here's a link to this. No, this is real. Here's a link to that. And you got to go in there and you got to rate it. Was this helpful? Somewhat helpful? Not helpful? Yes, it was helpful. And rate the validity of it. Well, I've got a really good rating because they give you a rating for this. Like they give you an incognito name. Twitter does, or X does. So I'm the Groovy Jazz Eagle. well, you know what the hell, you can't change your name or anything, and you're allowed to write community notes if you get to a level 8. Well, I'm a level 9 and I have never wrote any community notes, but I feel like I'm doing us a service because I go in there and if I call it out for exactly what it is. If was this helpful? Yes or no? Like, is it a lie? Yes or no? And I'm getting a lot of them right because guess what? We know what the hell is truly going on. So I'm going to keep doing that. And if you guys come across a tweet that you think needs major pushback, DM it to me and I will write a note for it because, hey, I got that power. I got the power. Okay, to be fair, I'm going to bring an RFK Jr. clip. I'm not trying to dog anybody down. I'm trying to be fair with everybody. I brought you Cornell. Now I'll bring you Bobby. Let's see what Bobby was saying. And is it just me or does Bobby's office look like Biden's basement? I don't know. I'm just conspiracy, but I just think they look a lot alike.
Both President Trump and President Biden like to boast about the prosperity that they brought to our country, but in crisscrossing America myself, I'm not seeing evidence of that prosperity. Instead, I'm seeing an America that I never thought that I'd witness. I'm seeing these giant disparities in wealth where most Americans are living on the precipice of desperation. In fact, the average income in this country is now $5,000 less than the basic cost of living. And 35% of Americans are not making enough money to pay for basic human needs. That means transportation, food, and housing. What that means is that they have to make impossible choices every day of their lives. American parents today all across our country are sitting in their living room and listening to a baby cry in the room next door and having to wonder whether that baby is $30 sick or $200 or $500 sick before they bring them to a hospital. They're choosing between medicine and food and gasoline and rent. And in order to bridge that gap between their income and their needs, Americans are increasingly relying on their credit cards. We now have the greatest credit card debt in America's history. Credit card debt is $300 billion more than when President Trump took his oath of office. And the average interest rate on that credit card debt is around 22%. When the mafia does that, they call it loan sharking. When banks do it, they just call it interest. If we're doing so well, then why is it today that 57% of Americans could not put their hands on $1,000 in order to pay for an emergency? And for the first time in American history, most Americans, in fact, 2/3 of us, believe that our children will be worse off than we are today. For most Americans, the American dream has turned into an American nightmare. And whatever graphs and data and statistics that government officials use to try to gaslight us into believing that everything is hunky-dory, reality is written across this country on the plywood that is boarding up all of these closed businesses from Main Street to Union Square in San Francisco, and it's etched on the faces of the mothers and fathers who gather weekly at their kitchen table to go through the bills and try to figure out how in the world they're going to make their ends meet. And that kitchen table math seems a lot more reliable than the sunny economic projections that we're getting from our elected officials of both political parties in the White House. Because every American family knows in its bones that these tales of a booming economy don't add up. The last two administrations, like several of the administrations that preceded them, have continued to adopt policies that favor Wall Street and tech billionaires and military contractors over the American middle class. Those interests are strip mining America of its equity, of its wealth, of its salaries, and ultimately of our democracy. And both President Trump and President Biden are now running for re-election based upon these economic choices. And what that means is that if either of them get elected, you can expect more of the same. We seem to have plenty of money for all the bank bailouts and the foreign wars, but food stamps for ordinary Americans are being cut by 90%.
90%!
Teachers across the country are paying for school supplies out of their own pocket. It's time that Americans got a president who cared about their economy and not the war economy and the bank economy and the finance economy and the Wall Street economy, and not the theoretical economy on the charts and graphs. Over the coming weeks, I'll be releasing an economic plan that focuses on ending this corrupt merger between state and corporate power that has made the 6 essential expenses unaffordable for most Americans. And those essential expenses are housing, food, childcare, utility bills, commuting to work, and getting the medical care that you need to survive. I want every American to know that you are not alone in this crisis. I want you to know that I'm going to be a president who's going to be thinking about solving your economic problems every day that I'm in the White House. The government created these problems, and you deserve a government that is going to solve them.
I don't know why that was so cloudy. It's not me because I'm clear, so obviously it was just the pixel on that. But okay, so here are my thoughts. Y'all know that I think he's a sheepdog for the Democratic Party. I have been saying this. I've been saying that he is it's the shell game right now. That's what the Dems are doing, right? They've got to support Biden and their corporate interests and the war machine and the big banks. They know they have to do that. That's how they've held power for the last 20 years. But they also, the Democratic Party is not stupid. They know that under their big tent is the workers, and they have to throw some crumbs to us occasionally to get us riled up. So that way we'll support their candidates, right? So we'll stay on the left. Do you remember that we have two good candidates regardless in the primary in 2016, right? Like, well, even if Bernie doesn't get it, thank God it'll be Hillary, a Democrat, right? I mean, and even I was saying stupid shit like that back then because I was scared to death of the Republicans. The Republicans is why I was starving and didn't have a good job and couldn't have food stamps, you know? I now know better. But when you're just not paying attention to politics and you're just busy living your life and you hear the mainstream narrative is the Republicans are for corporations and the Democrats are for the working class. So I don't put it past the Democrats to throw these talking points out there with RFK Jr. And yeah, I love what he's saying. I wish I could get excited about him like I did for Bernie Sanders, but I learned with Bernie Sanders that the Democrats will tell you whatever the hell you need to hear for you to stay in the Democratic Party. That's what it's about. It's about keeping us in the Democratic Party and saying, well, I'll vote for Biden because he's better than Trump, you know. So if you stick around with Bobby long enough, you're going to get Biden because no matter what he says at the end of the day, when the Dems screw him over, he's going to tell you to vote for whoever their candidate is, be it Biden, be it Harris, be it, whoever else they dust off and decide to throw in there. Newsom, Inslee. I don't count Inslee out. For some reason, he's not running for another term as governor. Why? I don't trust these guys as far as I can throw them, and I don't trust Bobby Kennedy. And I know a lot of our brothers and sisters are out there doing the work. I ain't going to rank on Pasta because he's asking questions. We're in a political space. That's what we know. I would expect Pasta to be out there asking these questions of all the candidates like he did in 2020. Doesn't mean I think that he's hell-bent on Bobby Kennedy. So Newsom won't win without another round of super rigging. Oh, well, they got one of those lined up in their pocket. We know that that's coming, right? So the biggest thing in there was the food insecurity. We have so much food insecurity in our country, but it's no surprise when you come from a country that doesn't think food is a right. They love that word access. Let's give you access to food. You can't have the food. You can smell the food. You wish you could taste the food, but hey, you got access. So quit your crying.
I don't know, man. Hearing news this week that the United Nations had a vote on whether or not food was a right, and finding out that the United States is the only country that said no.
Like this map that you see a lot of the creators using to talk about this. The problem with the map is not that it's inaccurate. The problem with the map is that it's from 2021. And if you're wondering why you're just hearing about it now, that's because they didn't tell us. It wasn't in the news, whether it be national or local. It wasn't in the newspapers. It wasn't in any magazines. They didn't have a press conference on this. They just straight up hoped that we would not find out. This is where it starts getting good, because not only was this vote made during a Democratic presidency, but along with this vote, the ambassador got to make a speech on why they decided to vote that way. The speech itself is rather lengthy, mostly with the ambassador disagreeing upon the language of what they were being asked to agree to, mainly when it pertained to pesticides and other things. But there was one part of their speech that did stand out among the rest.
The United States supports the right of everyone to an adequate standard of living, including food, as recognized in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Domestically, the United States pursues policies that promote access to food, and it is our objective to achieve a world where everyone has adequate access to food. But we do not treat the right to food as an enforceable obligation. Keep in mind, when they said we, they're referring to our government. So our government stance on this is that everyone should have adequate access to food at all times, but they should not be the ones responsible of making sure people have it. Of course, why would the government feel obligated to feed its people when 10% of them are going fucking hungry? They don't feel that it's their responsibility to feed their own fucking citizens when their country makes enough food to feed the whole planet every single year. I have no idea how the United States is still in the United Nations. If that fucking assembly knew that 20 people died in this country every fucking day because the government refused to help them, they might just think twice. If they knew that that adds up to about 13,000 people a year here, and with the rising costs of everything now, that number is just going to be increasing. Our government has proven that they will literally watch every single member of the working class in this country go homeless and work full-time jobs from their fucking cars, as long as they're still getting their tax money. They don't care.
They don't care. They 100% don't care. And why are we still in the UN? Because we own the fucking UN. The UN does whatever we say whenever we say it. And if Bush's little war in Iraq didn't prove that to the world, I don't know what would. You know, the UN, oh, we don't want to go in there. F you, we're going to do what we want. Hello, Corky. Corky says, can you not just vote for Bobby in the primary? And if he endorses a vote third party? Yeah, you can. Well, it depends on what state you're in. So some states are closed primaries where you have to declare yourself a Democrat and then you're not allowed to vote as an independent because you have to declare as an independent. But most of the blue states are, yeah, you can vote in the primary who you want and then vote for a third party and then, you know, the general. So just depends on where you're at. Depends on where you're at. Let's see. That was just gross. I mean, I'm glad that every day young Americans are starting to understand this. More and more and more people are, you know, living in their cars, living in their vans, living with their parents, living with their grandparents. More families are having to come together. And not that I think that that's a bad thing. I think that it's good when families live together and we have multiple generations. You know, we used to have a society that put value in our seniors and what they contributed to the family, right? The grandparents being with the grandkids and helping rear them and teach them. It takes a village, right? I was very lucky. I had a lot of family around me when I was young. Sadly, most of my family's gone now. Okay, all my family, but my kids are gone. But, you know, I had my moms and my aunts and my uncles and my grandparents, and that help me with my kids. You know, they'd watch them. My kids were always staying over at my aunt's house. I mean, there were her great kids, right? But she'd take them to movie night, that type of thing. So I think it's important that we bring that family dynamic back. And I think the breakdown of the nuclear family is a lot of our societal problem. And when you understand what the transhumanist movement is actually about, it's about breaking down that family structure. It's about getting us to detach from our beings, our souls and ourselves, and, you know, morphing with machines. Ultimately, people think it's about, you know, gay rights, but it's not. It is about the day that we're going to merge with AI, basically. Okay, let's start talking about war. I got a couple of these. Let's see. U.S. gave $115 billion to Ukraine so far. Yeah.
The United States has given Ukraine $115 billion so far since the war started. And no one seems to care because we give them money every other week, it seems like. But how much money is that really? I've done the math. Let's say Ukraine decided, you know what? Thanks, America. We want to repay you. We're going to give you $100,000 a day, every day, until you repay. It would take them 3,150 years. They would have had to start paying us in 1000 BC, $100,000 every day until today, and it still wouldn't be repaid, right? But what else could we have done with that money here in the United States? I looked it up. To build a state-of-the-art hospital in the U.S. is about $100 million. We could have built 1,000 of those hospitals, 20 in each state. We could have made sure every homeless person is off the street. We could have removed hunger for any American. So my question to you is, why is this war in Ukraine so important to us that we're willing to spend the money on them than fixing these problems here. Let me know what you think.
That war in Ukraine is not important to most of America, from what I understand. I mean, there is that, propaganda that goes out and riles people up. But I think at the end of the day, people are worn out with it. They're getting over it. And when we hear the White House announce and the Pentagon and the State Department announcing every other week another 15 billion here and another 750 million here and there, and we're seeing what's happening to our country in real time. We see all of our trains derailing, the homelessness from coast to coast, the children going without food, the food bank lines backing up. We see this money just being sent out of our country and nobody's even batting an eye about it. And I've been saying it since 2016. We're going to go to war. This is going to end in a major global conflict. And the stage is being set right now. And it's propagandists like this chick, if you can call her that, dehumanizing people. And that's how we start. You dehumanize them, right? Let's dehumanize the Russians. So therefore, it's good to support Ukraine.
Do you know the difference between us and them? Besides fighting under this flag and for freedom on behalf of the people of Ukraine, while the Russians are fighting for tyranny and dictatorship, it's pretty simple. We're human, and those guys most definitely aren't. Slava Ukraini.
Yeah, you're not human, honey. I hate to tell you this. You're an ugly, terrible black soul of a human being. That's what I see there. I mean, I won't even go after her Karen hairdo because, that speaks for itself. I want to see the manager. But yeah, dehumanizing a whole entire population. Oh, they're not human. We're human, but they're not human. I mean, this is how it goes and how it's going to go. It's going to get much worse too. The war and Russia bad propaganda is going to get much worse. And so is the China propaganda too. And not to say that China doesn't do a lot of bad shit and that Russia doesn't do a lot of bad shit. I see people all over the world that are stuck under these tyrannical governments, these oligarchic governments, these authoritarian, technocracy state that we find ourselves in. And I don't think the people of Russia are that way. I don't think the people of Ukraine are that way. I don't think that the people of Iraq or even Israel, as much as we dog on Israel, I think there's good people in every country that see the corruption in their governments, that know how they have no voice, that we, the people of the world, have no voice. And when are we going to come together as a people and shed these fucking ticks that are blood sucking all of us, from Africa to Russia to China to America? Blood sucking corporate ticks are killing all of us. And they're doing it to steal our resources and keep us down. And we know it. So Western ally receive a sobering update on Ukraine's counteroffensive. Yeah, we've been telling you that. Ukraine forces have incurred staggering losses, leading commanders to hold back some units to regroup and reduce casualties. Well, that's probably smart now that you guys have burned up all the equipment that we sent you and, killed off all of your forces. We've seen the videos. I brought you a video last week of, sadly, a Ukrainian soldier who was down to the last few in his platoon and he knew he was going to die, putting a video out to his girlfriend, and he was saying, there's no support, there's no backup, there's nobody helping us, where's the ammunition? They were pinned down with no ammo. Yeah, you guys want to fight a war, but you only want to half-ass fight it. You just want to fight it in the media. You don't actually want to fight it. And it's pretty telling that Russia is kicking the fuck out of them. And CNN just shows up every day and lies about it. But this is actually CNN having to admit that, oh no, not her, evil. So AOC, she wants you to go to war. Let's talk about Victoria Nuland. Oh God, this woman. So breaking, my sources have confirmed that Juan Guaido has declared himself interim president of Niger. Oh, imagine that. Victoria, was that you again? Future without NATO, future with NATO. So U.S. withdraws aid to Niger. Are we shocked? Are we shocked? I'm not shocked. If we can't get what we want, if we can't get the resources that we're there to pillage, well, then we're going to send in Juan Guaido, damn it, because that's what we do. Oh my gosh. Look in her eyes. Look at her eyes. Do you see Satan? Yeah, I kind of see Satan. So, oops, she accidentally got recorded. And yeah, let's hear what she had to say.
When you're a high-ranking official talking about diplomatic efforts in Ukraine, the last thing you want to do is drop your guard.
So that would be great, I think, to help glue this thing and have the UN help glue it. And, the EU.
But that is exactly what reportedly happened between US Assistant Secretary of State Victoria Nuland and US Ambassador to Ukraine Jeffrey Pyatt. The exchange has since surfaced online, including the crude swipe at the European Union. The audio clip of a woman and man, said to be Nuland and Pyatt, hears them discussing strategies to work with the three main opposition figures.
I don't think Cleach should go into the government. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's a good idea.
In terms of him not going into the government, just let him sort of stay out and do his political homework and stuff. I'm just thinking in terms of sort of the process moving ahead, we want to keep the moderate Democrats together. The problem is going to be Tony Boak and his guys. And, I'm sure that's part of what Yanukovych is calculating on all of this.
I think Yats is the guy who's got the economic experience, the governing experience. He's the guy, what he needs is Cleach and Tony Book on the outside. He needs to be talking to them 4 times a week. I just think Cleach going in, he's going to be at that level working for Yatsenyuk. It's just not going to work.
There is a suggestion for Nuland to contact Klitschko directly to play to his top dog sensibilities, while Nuland refers to getting the United Nations involved in a political solution. And that's where the unfortunate comment arises.
I'm obviously not going to comment on private diplomatic conversations, other than to say it was pretty impressive tradecraft. The audio was extremely clear. Hello, how are you? Good to see you. We're here from America. Would you like some bread? Please take something.
Like, I don't want shit from you, bitch.
This was Nuland and Pyatt visiting Independence Square in Kiev in December, handing out food to protesters and police. This latest episode is embarrassing for the US and allows Russia to argue that the opposition is being manipulated by Washington, something that Barack Obama has always denied. The clip was said to have been posted online by the Russian deputy PM, but that has not yet been confirmed.
Oops, she got busted. And she goes, well, I'm just going to say the quality of that was really good. Yeah, that's all she can say about it. Fuck the EU. Yeah, we know that that's our stance. That's the American stance on everything. But let's see. I got a clip from Nico kind of updating us on the Niger situation. There was a countdown. I think it was yesterday that the countdown ended. So let's hear about Victoria Nuland's demands on Niger.
After Nigeria basically gave the middle finger to ECOWAS's ultimatum by letting the deadline expire, the United States decided to send in Victoria Nuland, the Deputy Secretary of State, to negotiate in secrecy and to speak to the president or the former president of Niger. Now, I already know what some of you are probably thinking. Victoria Nuland must be there to help the junta coup more effectively, right? That's gotta be the reason. Because Victoria Nuland is one of the masterminds behind the Ukrainian maiden coup in 2014. I mean, there's literally audio of her talking about the U.S. is pulling all the strings during the coup in 2014. So for the U.S. to send Victoria Nuland to negotiate the reinstallation or the reinstatement of a democratically elected leader is fucking beyond me. But what this does mean, however, is that the U.S. is pulling out the big guns. They're using all their back channels and they're bringing out all their major coup players. And whenever people like Victoria Nuland get caught up to bat at home plate, we know what happens next. Usually somebody gets overthrown. And it's on behalf of the U.S. and their interests.
we came, we saw, he died. Yeah, I see that as an outcome. I mean, yeah, if we send Victoria Nuland in there, that's exactly what we're trying to do. We called it weeks ago when all this first started going down. That's would be the American stance on it, right? And hold tight, Africa. Hold tight. Keep us the fuck out of your country, man. You need to kick us all the way out. Because we're evil. And I'm surprised, I'm sure the CIA is all over down there and involved in that shit too. There isn't a coup that happens anywhere in the world that the CIA doesn't have its little octopus tentacles in. Rick, it's your birthday. Happy birthday, Rick. Happy birthday. We're going to have to do some kind of birthday thing because we get lots of birthdays here. I'm going to have to get a birthday card up. We're going to have to start a birthday club. Yeah, we'll do. Remember the old radio stations where you could join like the morning show club and they'd shout you out for your birthday? I kind of miss the old days. We should do something like that, right? Nuland spoke threats in Niger. Yeah, I'm sure she's threatening the shit out of them, right? It's always about resources. There's so many different ways that we screw a fucking country over. It's not just with cooing them. It's not just, corporate capture of their damn resources. What about the fact that we never pay them for fucking anything? And I love how she's handing out bread. She's in the Ukraine. She's in P Square, and she's handing out these little like steak rolls because a steak roll is going to save your life. Look at how kind she is. It's just so gross. You share a birthday with Tupac. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, you know what? Dr. Nick, I covered Tupac's birthday not too long ago, so happy birthday to you. Okay, let's talk Julian Assange. I know I normally keep my Assange piece till the end of the show, but we've got a lot to talk about. There's lots of stories that we've been telling you guys about for years now that are finally starting to make it into the mainstream, and one of those is the CIA made plans and options to murder Julian Assange inside the Ecuadorian embassy in London. A whistleblower from the security company at the embassy confirmed to me that they discussed poisoning him. Owner of the company discussed via telephone poisoning. So let's hear about it.
Brand new bombshell reporting is shedding new light on the CIA campaign directed against WikiLeaks and its founder, Julian Assange. According to a Yahoo News investigation in 2017, as Julian Assange was in Ecuador's embassy in London, CIA Director Mike Pompeo began discussing kidnapping the WikiLeaks founder. Some discussions even went beyond kidnapping. U.S. officials also considered killing Assange. Let me ask you, according to your reporting, what kind of debates took place over the legality of these plots? And CIA and DOJ, were they on the same page
about legality?
Yeah, this is one where the Trump White House lawyers were raising all sorts of concerns that the agency was going way beyond what would be legally authorized. Remember, at this point, when all these plans are being drawn up, there's no indictment of Julian Assange. Even though he had been under investigation for years, going back to the publication of the 2010 State Department cables, at the time that the agency was considering abducting him, a snatch operation, where would they take him? There was he wasn't being prosecuted. At that point in the United States, what it did do, what Pompeo's extreme measures or plans did do, is spur the White House to get the Justice Department to begin accelerating its efforts to bring a criminal case against Assange. So if he was rendered, which is what the CIA wanted to do, there would be a legal process. The problem is that much of the time period when all these extreme measures were being debated, there was no indictment against.
So it was Trump's State Department trying to cover their own ass because they saw the CIA wanted to off him, saying, yeah, maybe you shouldn't off him because legally we can't get away with that. But if you build a case on him, then we'll go after him. That's what I hear in that interview. And yes, none of this is news to us, especially if you're an Assange activist. We've known this for years. We've been calling it out for fucking years. But hey, if you guys are in the Seattle area, there is going to be an Assange rally Saturday, August 12th at noon in Ballard on Market Street and 22nd Ave. Join up. I know we've got some Seattle peeps that watch the show. So if you're out there, go hang out with the Seattle for Assange peeps. They're great. They do amazing work. Amber, I'm assuming you're going to be a part of that. I hope so. So check it out. Let's see what else. I got one more. Let's see. Peter Hitchens, no journalist is safe if the extradition goes ahead. Julian Assange must have justice and freedom. Absolutely. So are they starting to get a little worried that this is coming after journalists? A few are, but for the main part, no, because they're all just, talking puppet heads.
It's just astonishing. Here we are with this poor man imprisoned endlessly. I mean, he's not really.
How long has he been in now?
I can't remember.
Must be years,
now.
Right?
Ages.
Years.
And the thing, he's long ago served the sentence which was imposed on him for jumping bail. He's basically there now because he is. They won't allow him out on bail because of the extradition threat which lies over him. And I suppose you could say that's reasonable. He has
not
bail.
reasonable.
They can't really let him go free. But why he has to be in Belmarsh in the most oppressive prison conditions pretty much in the country, I'm not sure. But in any case, I just think I've looked at this extradition.
That's what the U.S. State Department
there are many
wants.
things about it which are very worrying. One of them being basically no journalist is safe if this extradition goes ahead.
Yeah.
There's a clear statement in the extradition treaty between us and the United States that no political extradition should take place. I don't think there's any doubt that this is a political extradition. It simply shouldn't be happening. But it's grinding on, and at some point, maybe very soon, there's going to be an announcement that Julian Assange has been shoved on a plane and sent to the United States.
Well, this is all back to the WikiLeaks days, right? This is all going back to WikiLeaks, which was a long time ago as well.
But he could be imprisoned in some federal dungeon for the rest of his life.
Right.
This is a man with a wife and young children who has committed, as far as I can see, no crime under the laws of this country. And I just would ask people, if they're at all concerned about this, and there are things said about Julian Assange endangering Western people which are very much challenged by his supporters.
Yeah.
I'm no friend of Julian Assange.
I'm not.
The last time we encountered each other was at a debate on drugs where we were very rude to each other.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Right.
He should have justice and freedom.
That's what I want to hear from every fucking journalist. Okay, I don't agree with Assange, but it doesn't fucking matter. You cannot prosecute him for telling truth. He committed no crime. And yeah, I'm afraid that we are just going to wake up one day and somebody's going to tweet out, oh my God, Assange is on American soil. He's being held at one of the worst prisons on the East Coast. I fear that every day. Every day I fear that, because obviously they're hell bent on moving forward, because we've seen Australia's PM put a ton of pressure on the State Department and Blinken to drop this shit, save face, say, okay, that was under a different administration. Let's just call it and let him go home. But no, they will not let that fly. We saw Blinken last week, like, oh, he put people in danger, which is absolutely a lie, 100% fictitious. And now we're hearing that the CIA linked security company targeted the former Ecuadorian president who granted Assange asylum. So it wasn't just Assange that they wanted to fucking kill. Anybody who was helping Assange out. And we knew that. We knew when they kicked the doors in of the Ecuadorian embassy that they were going after it was the previous leader of Ecuador, right? They got a new leader and they paid the new leader off. And yeah, that's why they were allowed to kick the door in. What is this? Comrade Misty Putin. Let me see. What is this? Oh God, this is just funny. Okay. So somebody says, I expected Gray Zone's dark money donors to launder their grants via mini identical anonymous $100 donations. But it turns out the rumors about Roger Waters, aka George is his legal name, bankrolling Moscow's pet tankies was true. And if you look at the GoFundMe screenshot right next to it, George Waters donates $30,000 to the Gray Zone. Okay, Roger Waters gave $30,000 to the Gray Zone. I'm supposed to be upset about this? Comrade Misty says, way to make Gray Zone look even cooler. Roger Waters is one of the very few celebrities who's consistently sticks to his principles and actually challenges power. Yeah, I agree. Couldn't have made Roger look any fucking cooler. And yeah, we knew Roger paid to get Randy Critico's dog a surgery at the vet. I mean, that is kindness. That is supporting this movement. He has money and he's putting it into his beliefs. And yeah, I ain't going to thank him for that. So Misty's got truly the dumbest trolls on the internet. I'm not even kidding. She really does. Let's see. Delusion in the US that keeps us in our place. Maybell, thank God the stock market's back up. Yeah, that kind of looks a little bit like my trailer. I need to take a pressure washer to it in a couple of places. And I do have that fucking vining shit that's trying to take my house over too. But, you know, we're just trailer park around here. So we own it. We own it. Jimmy Doris had some really good guests on this last week. Did you guys see? Let's see. Pasta was on Friday. And Pasta was on again on Monday. And I thought Pasta did a really good job hanging out with Jimmy. You could see he was a little nervous. Knowing Pasta as well as I know Pasta, I could see his nerves, but he handled it great. And of course, Jimmy had an interview with the Dark Horse podcast, Brett Weinstein. Weinstein? Is it Stein or Steen? I don't know. I just don't know. But I love this point that they made about comedy and how we all laugh because we know the truth, right? And that's what I love about our community. We have these inside jokes we crack constantly. So let's hear it.
You can tell how off the rails things are by the policing of comedy. The fact is, comedy, A, is an ancient, evolved phenomenon, or at least humor is. And it is how we navigate difficult stuff. That's what it's for. It allows us to figure out what hovers at the fringes of our consciousness and to discover that other people see it too. You know, when a room erupts in laughter, it's an acknowledgement that we all see the same uncomfortable truth. And the idea that you're going to be punished for laughing at something is absurd. The fact that you are laughing at something means that the people assembled who are doing the laughing have this in them. And if it's something, you know, if it's a defect, this is how you discover it. So it's like doing away with the best tool you're ever going to have for navigating this difficult stuff. And the only people who would do away with that tool are people who don't really want it navigated because they have it weaponized and they need it weaponized.
Humor is actually a mechanism whereby we discover what hangs out on the fringes of our consciousness. You know, if somebody makes a joke, and it reveals, if people laugh and it's organic laughter rather than that stupid applause that you see people do these days when somebody makes a joke, if they earnestly laugh, you can actually tell that they know the truth of that statement, right? Mm-hmm. And it may not be a straightforward truth, but there's some truth in it, and they know it and you know it, and now you both know that each other knows it, right? So evolutionarily, humor is like a mechanism for exploring things that are at the fringes of consciousness, often because they're a bit uncomfortable, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like signing on to an acknowledgement that, yeah, we all know that thing is true, right? Mm-hmm. And so the flip side of this is if your movement is composed, at least at the level of what it claims, of pure nonsense, humor is almost inconceivable because humor would reveal you know how feeble these arguments are, or you don't, and that makes you even more of a fool.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
So the point is, we're not going to even allow joking, because if we allowed joking, that'd be it. Movement would be over in an hour.
Yes, and he's absolutely right. That's why we love to crack jokes. That's why we're always cracking jokes, and we're satire over on Saturday night. Yeah, it helps us accept the situation that we find ourselves in. It helps us all agree together that something is wrong. You know, comedy is so important, and I love that the comics, they seem to get it. There's a bunch of comics that seem to get it. Rob Snyder, Jimmy Dore. I mean, we know who they are. They're out there. They're pushing back. Jim Buer, he's done a great job during COVID. There's so many that called this shit out for really what it was, but the biggest comics are the ones that sit there with a blank look on their face trying to fucking lie to you. Those are the ones that make me laugh. And we got a few of those. Let's move into COVID. This was the committee hearings last week. And this is Dr. John Campbell, I think. But just listen to this shit. And you guys know what we got told during COVID. So I don't even have to tell you the comparison.
But I do remember
President Biden making this statement at the time. And I remember commenting, I said, we can expect or we can assume that the President of the United States is well informed, because he didn't just decide to say this on his own. He's read it from somewhere. So someone's given him this information. So let's look at it now. And this is a big reason why there's a huge lack of trust at the moment. The age of deference has well and truly passed. But over to the video now.
On June 21, 2021, President Biden stated, quote, "If you are vaccinated, you're not going to be hospitalized. You are not going to be in the intensive care unit. You are not going to die," end quote.
I remember
Again,
that.
simply yes or no. By that date, were there vaccinated Americans that were hospitalized?
What I can tell you is at the time, CDC was releasing increasing data showing the immense protection of vaccines against severe disease, hospitalization, and death.
But by that date, were there vaccinated Americans that were hospitalized?
Yes.
Maybe I'll say this. We still, to this day, do not have data on people who are coming into the hospitals who are vaccinated. That is a data point that we have lacked.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, because that is another thing that we need to look into
That's the only way they were
very
getting data
closely
now.
and to do better going forward.
On our data system.
But I will say this, believe me, as a physician, I was watching what was going on. We were first looking out to try and see how do we treat this thing? What is going on? What blood work can we do? IL-6, your inflammatory markers, CT of the lungs. There were no tests. And we were trying to find answers, but we did pay very close attention to the trials of Operation Warp Speed. And it was fascinating to, be a part of that in some way. We would meet with Dr. Fauci, Dr. Collins, et cetera. But we knew from the trials the people that got vaccinated still got COVID. In general, they didn't get as sick, and they were less likely to be hospitalized, and therefore less likely to die. But it was still happening. So I'll ask you the question, to the best of your knowledge, had any passed away when he made that statement in June of 2021?
If I might, Dr. Wenstrup, let me just also thank you for your work in promoting vaccination. Many videos of
she
you
had to
doing
flip it on
vaccine
him.
clinics that yourself.
You supported
so
it,
I want to
too.
thank you for your efforts there. It was much, what I will say is my understanding of the initial clinical trials that were released in November, December, before I became CDC director, was 96% protection against symptomatic disease. In medicine, we never say never. But
Exactly. Exactly. So thank you. And that's the problem I have with this statement from the leader of the free world, is to say something so definitive. You're not going to be hospitalized. Even in the trials, people were hospitalized. You're not going to the ICU as a definitive statement.
Yes.
That was misinformation. That was divisive. That was dangerous. And it put you in a very hard spot.
That was just a few truths that got dropped in those committee hearings. There's lots of channels that have broke it down. Of course, Dr. John Campbell, people hated on him during COVID, but I have always found him very thorough, very articulate, and by the numbers. I mean, if you wanted the actual Rona numbers during all of this, Dr. Campbell did a great comprehensive job of breaking them down for you. And so I still trust him to this day. And I don't care that he's a nurse practitioner. He's not a doctor. The nurses, let me tell you, I grew up in an ER room. My mom was a trauma nurse. And in the 80s, my ass would get drugged to work so I could do all the old fashioned filing for them before they had computers. And the nurses know a hell of a lot more than the doctors. I'm just telling you, they do. At the end of the day, they're the ones treating you. They're just getting told what to do by the doctors. They're the ones signing off on shit. So I trust the nurses. Okay, so let's move on from COVID and talk about Ghislaine Maxwell. I got a couple of Ghislaines here. Of course, we've had some breaking stories with the Epstein story, but let's start off first with how she identifies. So Ghislaine Maxwell is now identifying as a Jewish prisoner, And what else would she identify as other than a arist, a P word, and a H tier? Cynthia McKinney, you crack me up. Let's see. This one's got an article. Let me pull the article up real fast. Oz, that is a great GIF. I don't know why I lost that one over the years, but it's here to stay, I can tell you. So let's say Ghislaine Maxwell identifies as a Jew, as Jewish in prison. She did this because, let's see, her father was Jewish, but did not publicly identify as Jewish previously, and is not considered a Jewish under traditional Jewish law. That's why I am. I've never identified as a Jew. I'm not considered one, but all my ancestries are. Let's see. U.S. prisoners are obligated to honor inmates' religious obligations in most cases, meaning that Jews are often given access to kosher foods, prayer supplies, and a change in work schedule to account for the Sabbath and for holidays. So, yeah, it sounds like she's getting a few more privileges. You got to pick a clique. When you go to prison, thank God I've never been to prison. I'm smart enough to have not ever got caught up in any of the fucking crazy bullshit I've done in my life. But I do have a lot of friends and a lot of exes who were in prison, and you got to identify with some ethnical group in there. That's how you get protection. That's how you gang up. And so apparently that's what she is doing. Are we shocked? Are we shocked that Ghislaine would do that? I'm not shocked at all. I almost expected it. But that's not the only story we have on Ghislaine. This next one. Oh, no, that's not it. But I'll read this one to you guys. California legislation passes a bill reducing penalties for oral anal sex with willing children. The key word being willing. So I don't know what defines willing. And I read the article and it was just nauseous. And these articles don't say anything. They're clickbait anymore. They'll have not even 3 or 4 paragraphs in it, and it's just restating whatever the headline was. And that's pretty much what that article was saying. But I did take a look at that law not too long ago. And yeah, there's some hanky language in there for, and I'll admit it. I mean, I was much more mature at 15, 16, and 17. I was making decisions for myself. I was living on my own. I'd already moved out by the time I was 15, So my then boyfriend at the time was 28 and I was 17 years old. So I get some of the language in it, but I think it just opens up a big loophole for predators to just drive right through. Yeah, exactly. What the actual fuck? I know. And that's not the only disturbing thing California has done either. They've shot down some pedo laws too, some big ones. So disturbing court documents claim autistic Down syndrome girl 16 was trafficked to Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell by a mystery couple that handed off to special friends, including Leon Black. The girl who's not named in suing Leon Black who says that she was R-worded in 2002 says she was subjected to atrocious sexual abuse by other men. It allegedly began with a mysterious woman named Elizabeth grooming her. Elizabeth introduced the girl to Epstein and Ghislaine in 2001. This is a really long article. Who is it? Is the Guardian? Trying to figure, it's Daily Mail. So dailymail.com if you want to read the whole story. I know there's a couple of other Epstein stories that I didn't get on the deck just for time, but this one was the most disgusting, the one that is just heart-wrenching. When you go and you read the court documents, the testimony that she's given in her statement, it is heart-wrenching. It is nauseating. Leon Black needs to burn in hell. And we have said that for a long fucking time. I mean, they sexually violated and assaulted this girl repeatedly over and over and over. They knew they were doing it. But this is what Epstein's MO was, is he would get these girls, Ghislaine would train them up sexually the way that Epstein liked it. And then once they were a good girl, that's what they call them. Oh, you're a good girl. Once you were a good girl, then they would trade you off to the friends. And apparently Leon Black was the friend that got this. And what he did to this girl, I mean, he violently attacked her, violently. And there's a lot of details in the article I can't get into on YouTube, but I say go check it out if you're interested. But are we shocked? No. And of course, none of the banks, we have JP Morgan and all these Chase, these banks that are wrapped up in the Epstein bullshit. They're just paying these out, man. They're not even bothering to fight back on them because they know. And they want it to go away quietly. So yeah, they're just paying them off and don't talk about it. Here's the money. And yeah, Epstein was paying victims off for 20 years, and we're talking to the tune of millions, and that never was a red flag at the bank. Why are you giving this, 20-year-old girl or this 18-year-old girl's family $1 million? Like, nobody questioned what Epstein was doing ever? No, bullshit. They were all in on it. They're still in on it. That's why we don't never see the Epstein list, and why these big banks where these assholes like Leon Black and, Nygaard and, there's so many that were involved in this that nothing's happening to. Nygaard, he got it in the end. But Kate says, to let you know, I'll be on a trip to see family until September, leaving tomorrow. I'll catch you when I can. Miss the chats. Oh, okay. We will miss you too, but I'm so glad you're going to get out to see family. That sounds exciting, you little jet setter. You are the biggest jet setter in our chat, I think. So, well, make sure that you have a great time and catch us on the replay when you can. We will miss you in the chat. Okay, let's continue with Epstein. So I keep telling you guys about everybody. Oh, is this a BBC clip? I hope it's not, because they'll hit me. Oh, well. I keep telling you that the White House has now announced that, yes, we are going to chemtrail, and now the EU is saying it too.
What do you say to the charge that if you are a climate change campaigner, but you also travel around the world on a private jet, you're a hypocrite?
Well, I buy the gold standard of funding Climeworks to do direct air capture that far exceeds my family's carbon footprint. Wow. And I spend billions of dollars on climate innovation. So, should I stay at home and not come to Kenya and learn about farming and malaria?
Depopulation.
Anyway, I mean, I'm comfortable with the idea that not only am I not part of the problem by paying for the offsets, but also through the billions that my Breakthrough Energy group is spending, that I'm part of the solution.
Yeah, he's a part of the solution. They all have that attitude, right? Kerry has that attitude too. Oh, like, well, yeah, I'm emitting, pollutions, but I'm doing the work to save the planet, so it offsets it. Come on, you can't buy enough carbon capture offset to offset anything that you're doing. It's so gross. It's so gross. And so so unaware, right? I mean, that's what they do. So the EU backs Bill Gates' plan to fight global warming by blocking the sun. Yeah, I keep telling you guys, they're blocking the sun. Can I tell you guys, we have not had a sunny day on the northwest coast of Washington in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. I actually woke up this morning and it's very rainy. They chemtrail us every night in the afternoons. They chemtrail us in the morning. You can't even see through the sky. And I think why they're doing that is because we're on the far west coast. And the Midwest is so hot right now that they're trying to push those clouds and that weather system inland. So they're hitting us out on the coast, hoping it, moves in with the jet stream. And it sucks. I really want summer. I'm like, fuck, is it fall already? Like, we got about 2 weeks of summer in the Pacific Northwest this year. It kind of bites.
As the Biden administration signals its fight against global warming may actually involve blocking sunlight. The White House posting research claiming, quote, solar radiation modification would enable better informed decisions about the potential risk and benefits of SRM as a component of climate policy, alongside the foundational elements of greenhouse gas emissions mitigation. Our next guest warns this is simply government's way to control your weather. Mark Morano, publisher of ClimateDepot.com, and he joins us now. Okay, Mark, my take this morning was maybe this is one of those or else, get on board with everything else or we're going to block the sun. But I guess it's a little bit more, reality than that. Tell us about it.
It's already happening.
Well, this is actually Bill Gates funding this as well through Harvard University. This is retro 1970s. In the 1970s, they believed that our fossil fuels were creating aerosols, blocking the sun, creating man-made global cooling. So they came up with the same kind of geoengineering solutions back then. They wanted to put black soot on the Arctic to melt it. There was one proposal to use nuclear energy to help loosen the Arctic ice caps because they thought they were growing too much. And John Holdren, back in the Obama administration, also supported this kind of geoengineering, if you will, of the climate. This is radical, risky, unproven, unknown effects, but they're doing it as a sort of lever over us to say now in the Biden administration, kind of like, yeah, we know this is dangerous, we don't know the effects, but darn it, people aren't buying electric cars fast enough, or they're not embracing Green New Deal policies, so we have to risk our entire planet with this insane kind of research. It's basically weather modification. China's been doing it for years. It's another form of what the U.S. government has even been doing. The ABC News meteorologists bragged about the cloud seeding they're doing to increase rain or snow and storms. They will control the government will control the weather, and you will be happy. That seems to be the new motto.
Yeah, I was just talking to Will about the cloud seeding. He's not sure if he believes it, and I said, listen, it's something they've been trying to do for a while. But on that same topic, if they don't get to block out the sun, they're going to try other, maybe more practical ways, like electric vehicles, pushing those on us. A poll out shows 59% of us oppose phasing out gas cars by 2035. 21% support Biden's policy on this. What's your take on it?
Well, this is, I don't think we need a poll to show us these numbers. The American people have voted. Less than 7% of cars are electric vehicle sales in America. And that's despite massive subsidies, massive tax credits, mandates of banning gas-powered cars led by California and 18 other states with trigger laws. They have done everything they can to promote electric cars, and they're more expensive, they have less range, and all they do is increase our dependence on China. It takes fossil fuels to make a car, it takes fossil fuels to recharge the electric cars. It makes no sense. And what they're doing is intentionally creating car shortages by these gas-powered car bans to force us into mass transit.
No, that one point there, inviting China into our auto industry and into our electronic industry while they're passing things like the CHIPS Act, a lot of it is kind of speaking out both sides of their mouth. Thank you, Mark Morano, for joining us.
Fucking Fox.
Appreciate it.
I'm Steve Ducey.
They get it. I'm Steve Ducey. They get it wrong. They get so close. They get to the line of getting it right, and then they get it so fucking wrong because now they got to blame it on China, right? China. Why do we always have to have a fucking man? Why can't we just say these are corporate captures and but this, I don't know if I believe in cloud seeding. Hello, whether you believe it or not, it's happening. Well, you got something to say about it too? Come here, you crazy girl. What you got to say? I see you giving me laughs. She's been kind of needy this morning, but yeah, they constantly are telling us this isn't real. But on the other end, it is real. It is real because we have now seen testimony in front of the Congress. We have the White House admitting it. We have the EU admitting it. They've been doing it for a long time. Okay, bye. So yeah, chemtrails are real. Wake up, people. This isn't a I want to believe. No, believe it's real. It's absolutely 100% real. Okay, we're getting kind of late, so let's see if we can run through a few of these. Scotland admits chopping down 16 million trees to make way for green wind energy farm. Oh yeah, chop those trees down to save the environment. Let's see. Last American Vagabond. Maternity mortality is spiking at an alarming rate. This is go over and check out his Twitter if you want to read the Huffington Post article on this. This is some next level willful ignorance. Totally not the experimental gene therapy that was forced on pregnant women despite no testing. That's not being shown to have a direct effect to directly affect fertility and reproduction because we would be conspiracy theorists. Yes, we would, Ryan. Ryan Christian always does a good job over at The Last American Vagabond. If you like really meaty information, that's where you need to go. Let's see. We got a tweet from Brother Pasta. So Mexican president announced that he will sign an agreement with this country's tortilla makers to ensure that they only use a non-GMO white corn. He expressed concerns about the safety of GMO corns and has said it is a matter of public health. Viva Mexico. Yes. Good job. God, I wish we could get rid of GMOs. Did you guys see my joke? I was bitching about my garden and I was like, well, next year I'm going to grow nothing but GMOs. I wouldn't, but that was funny. Bed rotting. I got this one from Jax. This is a crazy story. Do you know if you just lay in bed all day, it's called bed rotting? Yeah. Apparently I've been bed rotting for, I don't know, 45 years now. I think this is just the term that they use that involves spending the day in bed, scrolling through social media, binge streaming your favorite show, or sleeping or doing other relaxing activities. So you guys know, I will be bed rotting this afternoon. And I got up really early. I need some bed rot time. Awake yet? 1960s, oil is gone in 10 years. 1970s, another ice age is in 10 years. 1980s, acid rain will destroy all of our crops in 10 years. I forgot about the acid rain. Yes, I remember growing up with the threat of acid rain. 1990s, the ozone layer will be gone in 10 years. Yes, I absolutely remember that. We were told the ozone was gone by 2020. 2000, ice caps will be gone in 10 years. Nothing happens, but is result in more taxes. It's true. These key phrases they keep hitting us with, they just come out of our pocketbook, don't they? Sadly. My 12-year-old just said she thinks eventually they will be able to put GIFs on tombstones. Obviously, please quote tweet with the GIF that you would put on your video tombstone. We're going to have video tombstones. God, what do I want on there? I don't know. I want that lady that says, who got time for that? Because I'm going to be dead. I'm not going to have time for anything. I just thought that was funny. And it's probably reality. We probably will have video gift tombstones, right? They'll have like picture memorials that show up. God, that world's going to suck when every single surface you look at is a billboard. I mean, we're not going to have anything that's nicely carved anymore. Yeah, I know. My GIF is this. Snow leopard. That's pretty funny. Let's see. Meteorologist dress for the high 90s. Definitely. That is Jim Brewer right there. That is the high 90s. Let's see. Wayne Brady comes out as a pansexual. I'm doing this for me exclusive only over at People. And I brought this just because I know a lot of people are confused about what a pansexual is. Is that somebody who's into pants? What is it? Nah, it's just somebody who wants to fuck everybody. That's all a pansexual is, guys. Hate to break it to you, but that's what it is. We missed a big one yesterday. Yesterday was a big day. Did you guys get in on the action? So August 8th is National Sneak Zucchini onto a Neighbor's Porch Day. Did you wake up to a big zucchini on your porch? Let me know if you did. Amber, you out there dropping zucchinis on people's porches? I'll take them. I love fried zucchini. So yeah, you guys want to drop zucchini on my porch. None of my zucchini made it this year. My butternut squash did. I've got some other big green squash. I don't know what it is, but it made it. But I got no zucchinis this year. I'm a little bummed. So, but I do love that about this time of the year. People always handed me zucchinis. Okay, this is your gardening meme for the day. We could have gardens instead of golf courses. We could be growing food instead of watering empty lawns. We could have flowers and beehives instead of empty lots. We just have to make it happen. And that's what I'm doing. I'm making the world a greener place. I mean, this is my little garden right back here, but it's getting much bigger. And my girlfriend brought me a ton of pots the other day. 2 more lights. Snorky, I got 2 more lights to add. I got these long ones now that match that whole set that you got. So I'm excited. I'm going to be doing a lot of indoor growing this winter. I just got to clear the space out and get to it. But I had all these trips planned here for the next few weeks. So I didn't want to start anything until I knew I was going to be home to water and baby everything. That's the biggest thing. Oh, and the sunflowers, guys, they're 10 feet tall. They're 10 feet. So the American hybrids are not even 5 feet. I mean, they come up to maybe my shoulder. They're just a little baby sunflower. But the Russian mammoths, oh my God, they're massive. I'm going to get another picture for you guys of them. They're starting to get their heads on them too. So that's exciting. I hope you guys are out there gardening too. At least grow something. The other day I was walking past QFC and the lady comes out front and she starts grabbing. I was looking at these sunflowers they had for sale, and they should have been half price or something because they were looking a little rough. And I was like, oh, somebody should give these babies some water. And she walks up, she pushes the cart up, and she just starts throwing them in this cart. And I was like, oh, what are you doing? I was like, I was thinking about rescuing a few of those. And she goes, oh, no. Management told me just to throw them in the garbage. And I was like, well, those poor babies, they just needed some water. Somebody could save them. And she goes, I'm just doing what I'm told. And I just stood there looking at her. And in my head, I was thinking, that's what the Nazis said. And then I was like, well, that would be a little extreme. She's just throwing plants away. It's not like she's killing anybody. So I just walked away. Like, oh, you're one of those people, aren't you? You're just one of those people. Okay, maybe late, maybe later. Oh yeah, bring me. Did you get watermelon starts? Watermelon won't grow where I am. It's too freaking cold. When I lived in the South, we would grow watermelon. When I lived in Baton Rouge, yeah, we grew some watermelon, but not anymore. Okay, let me shout everybody out before we get out of here. We're kind of on time today. Kind of. Long-time listener, good to see you over on the Rumbles, hanging out with the Aerowaves. That's Fred. That's Fred's use. I have a hard time keeping up with everybody's usernames because everybody's something different on every platform. Like, and I know you guys too. If you ever see the accidental activist on Rokfin, that's me. I know I used to be the accidental activist, but now I'm kind of over the whole activism thing. So thank you to everybody watching on the Rumble today. Wow, 15 on the Rumble. Wow, I'm shocked. Shock me. And to the few viewers over on Kick, we love you. Dingo hangs out over there. So does It's Cold Fusion. And let's shout out the YouTubes. Kill Your Egros. Hello, Wesley. How are you? Snow Leopard. Peace Dove. Amazing. You still just move me. You guys move me so much. I mean, our community is like nothing I've ever experienced. Dr. Nick, thanks for joining me today. 4737 Carlin, good to see you. Natalie Williams, I hope you had a good birthday the other day. Go Start's hanging out. I already got Wesley. I got Croaky. Who else do I got? Popeye. And Kate, we'll miss you in the chat. I hope you're going to make it into B&B sometimes, though. We'll miss you. I don't want to miss anybody. It's so hard scrolling. Let's see. I think I got everybody. Go Start, Snow Leopard, V. Yeah, I think I shouted everybody over on the YouTubes out eventually. And on the Rokfin. You guys, when I was hanging out, watching Beauty and the Boomer yesterday, I literally got sucked into watching like a whole year's worth of Beauty and the Boomer yesterday. And we've changed so much. Oh my gosh, we've evolved. Like we've gotten so much better at engineering. We've gotten so much better with graphics. I think our stories are better and more rounded. I don't know. Some things I used to do, like I should do that again, but we had just hit 1,000 followers on Rokfin in February of 2001, and we are almost at 15,000 on the Rokfin now. So yay, 2 years took us to get 15,000 over there. Amber King's hanging out. Hey, Amber King's going to have a brave new future on Friday. You got to check that out. Zoxo Foxo Vix, how's it going over there? Watermelon is an emphasis for, okay. Jim's hanging out over there too. Who else? I know Denver Attaway was hanging out here. Kate was over there. Fred Edwards is hanging out too. Try not to miss anybody. I know Yona stopped by for a while. How's it going? Well, everybody who joined me today, I appreciate you more than I could ever tell you. And let's see, what do we got going on? I'm not going to do a Friday Uncensored because we did one last week, right? We got to do them every other week. So that way I have time to build up stuff. So nothing from me on Friday, but you got Brave New Future from Amber on Friday night. And then I will be in the Beauty and the Boomer, Beauty in the Trailer Park for Saturday night. So join me for that. And then I'll be back on regular schedule next week. And next week, we're going to do movie night. We're going to do ideology. So, because that's where we find ourselves at. That's just where we find ourselves at. Okay, I got a great closer for you guys. It's getting really hard to find music because YouTube's literally put copyrights on everything that's on YouTube anymore. So I dig for hours. But if you guys don't know who Corey Hevel is, he does a great jam session every Sunday on YouTube. I love listening to him live because the guy can play and he's got a good voice too. So this is Ordinary Girl, and I will see you guys Saturday. Have a great week.
And let it be said, once you get this crazy, you're better off dead. Who will be my ordinary girl? If her heart ain't broke, it surely do. If her head ain't crooked, there's a hole straight through. Who will be my ordinary girl? I've been left all alone, I can't write another poem, bleeding all these words in vain. Again, I see you there, but I won't stare. I'll find something to say, like a wasp in her hair. She flicks me away. I might pretend, let it be said, once you get this crazy, you're better off dead. Who will be my ordinary girl? If her heart ain't broke, it surely do. If her head ain't crooked, there's a hole straight through. Who will be my ordinary girl? Maybe it's me, it could be I'm not a perfect man. These apes she desires, I can never understand. The rude, mean, blind swine, completely asinine. They make a pretty dime, and the looks are certainly fine. Oh, it's me. Maybe there's still time for her to see, but until then I'm out. Pretend, let it be said, once you get this crazy, you're better off dead. Who will be my ordinary girl? If her heart ain't broke, it surely do. If her head ain't crooked, there's a hole straight through. Who will be my ordinary girl? What's the use? I've done all I can do, and how can I be such a fool? I've never been the one to play it cool. Oh, I'm out pretend, let it be said, once you get this crazy, you're better off dead. Who will be my ordinary girl? If her heart ain't broke, it surely do. If her head ain't crooked, there's a hole straight through.